051. Just take it forward. We just engaged two enemy.
They're Australia's elite soldiers, used to operating in the shadows, undertaking missions rarely acknowledged, let alone detailed. But persistent rumours have abounded in recent years about the conduct of the Special Air Service in Afghanistan. Allegations of misconduct ranging from killing unarmed civilians to chopping off the hands of dead Taliban fighters. In May 2016, the Inspector General of the Australian Defence Force commissioned an inquiry into alleged war crimes in Afghanistan between 2005 and 2016, appointing Paul Brereton to steer the investigation, a judge of the New South Wales Court of Appeal and a Major General in the Army Reserves. Over the course of more than 4 years, Justice Brereton and his team have investigated 55 separate allegations of war crimes, hearing evidence from more than 330 people. The inquiry had a specific scope, investigating unlawful killings of civilians, the cruel treatment of Taliban fighters, and whether there are organisational, operational and cultural problems within the SAS that made that behaviour rife. The probe was not focused on decisions made during the heat of battle. In other words, usual warfare wasn't the issue.
Where there are serious rumours and allegations raised about the conduct of our ADF members, Australians would rightly expect that they are thoroughly examined according to the rigorous and well-established processes that are in place. Australians would of course also expect all ADF members to be treated with the utmost fairness.
Even if Justice Brereton finds there have been serious breaches of the laws of war, it doesn't necessarily mean SAS officers will be hauled before a court anytime soon. The inquiry is an internal administrative process within the Defence Force. It's not a criminal investigation. Because of that, ADF personnel who've given evidence have been compelled to do so. They're just following orders after all. But that goes against the established criminal principle of the right to remain silent, or more specifically, the right against self-incrimination. The Brereton inquiry might inform future criminal trials, but it isn't the sole basis for prosecution. And in saying that, it also isn't the only investigation underway. The Australian Federal Police have been running their own probe, poring over evidence, interviewing witnesses, and even sending their own investigators to Afghanistan. A special prosecutor has been appointed within the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecution's office to handle any resulting cases. And if criminal charges are pursued, it will require the approval of the Attorney General. If it gets that far, there's the issue of how any trials would be run. It could be in a civilian court, or the ADF may opt to go with a defence court-martial process. With each option, there's a question as to how much the public would be allowed to know. The federal government could demand suppression of certain details which relate to national security. It might go so far as to ask for every aspect of the trials to be kept secret, as they've done recently with the East Timor bugging case involving Canberra lawyer Bernard Collaery and former spy Witness K, and the prosecution of the former intelligence officer known as Witness J. Regardless, it may not be a quick process, based on how recent international war crime trials have run.
Some of those tribunals from the different conflicts in sort of southeast Europe there took 10-15 years.
A special investigator will be appointed to look into the criminal matters raised by the inquiry.
In this case, this is no normal set of circumstances, and the expertise scale of this that is necessary to properly fulfil that function that the AFP would normally provide here does not exist.
Given how much attention these allegations have already received, there's a sense among some in the defence community that the findings of the Brereton inquiry will have to be made public, at least in part. The old adage being that sunlight is the best disinfectant. But just how much the nation will learn about the secretive world of the SAS remains to be seen.